Okay, guys, I don't know what the deal is. I'm sorry you had to wait. This is the second show that I have hit the live button, and we sit and talk to you guys and said hello to everybody, told you everything we were going to do, and it didn't go live. Can you guys hear us? Gina, can you guys hear us? Anybody? I've got it on live.
Yep, we're on live. Yes, Andrea said they can hear us. Y'all, we have been talking for 8 minutes. We have been talking for 8 minutes, y'all. But here, let me do the disclaimer over again. Y'all, this show has the propensity to be triggering to certain people who have been victims of certain crimes, people who have seen certain things and haven't dealt well with them. If you are squeamish, if you are a person who is easily triggered, please click off now. Okay, this is your trigger warning. You have been warned.
Yes. And we said hi to everybody on here. Hansel, I said thank you so much for joining as membership. I appreciate it. Everybody here, Sharon, Gina, Andrea, Amanda, everybody, Truth Be Told, Spirit Beyond the Stars, Miss DJ, Laura, all of you, we said hi, but hi again. I don't know what the deal is. It's the second show in a row. We're really going to have to watch this, but I hit the thing and I hit live, but when I do that thing, it's supposed to go live and it didn't. So, but yeah, we're going to I'm going to try to play the video. The first video is about a YouTube video. It's about 17 minutes long. It's a long one. We're going to pause in between, and I have all the links below in the description box. But the first one, you guys let me know if you could hear it. Tanya was not able to hear it real well, so let's try it again. Maybe it was because we weren't live, so I'm going to try it again. I'm going to turn the volume all the way up. Yes, we're talking vampires, and I've got all different kinds of vampires, and the first video is, if you can hear it, some of these videos may be tough to hear, but the first video is a little dark. So like Tanya said, if you have any kind of triggers to violence, things like that, it may be a tough. You may want to go out for 20 minutes, come back, because it's a long one. But we'll see if you guys can hear it. Okay. So let me try this again, guys. Let's see. You tell me if you can hear this, everybody. Okay. And let's see.
New Orleans, a city of mystery, a city that 1 million people proudly call home, at least the ones above ground.
Can you hear?
New Orleans is also home to many beings that can't find their way back. Watch as our group of paranormal investigators attempt to discover these lost souls. Join us as we explore New Orleans, the most haunted city.
Okay. Tanya, you say you're having trouble hearing that one?
I can't hear it.
Okay, so we may. I wonder why. Do you got your volume all the way up?
Yes, all the way, 100%.
Okay, did you have it up before?
Yes.
Okay, so let's try a different one. You can hear it, but weak. Okay, so we'll go to the next one and see how this one does. Okay. Go back to that one later. I don't want that one. Let me find which one I want.
Do the one about the energy vampires.
Okay, let me see if I can. Well, let's see if it'll let me. That's not the one I want. Hold on, guys.
Wrap your head around this. There are
I'll
vampires.
listen to this for now.
There's vampires all over.
I can hear it.
There's different classes of vampires out there. That's one thing you've got some that participate in blood magic. You've got your energy vampires. You've got energy to stay alive, sustain their health. It's kind of like the soulless people that walk around who just really tap into an energetic matrix that doesn't really exist within our reality. Also, when you're looking for other things that exist out there, such as jinn, werewolves, demons, these things exist too. Sometimes other beings are attaching to hosts, and they're starting to influence their minds. There's a lot of interdimensional beings and galactic beings out there. Some of them play by the rules. Some of them are light. Some of them are dark. Some of them are neutral. Now, this comes in with just like anything, just like with angels. There's angels that are of the light. There's angels of the dark. There is biblical angels, Enochian angels, Hathor angels. That's still just brushing the surface of angels. So when it comes to even ETs and things of this nature, you have higher vibrational extraterrestrial starseeds such as Lyrians, and you have Syrians, Andromedans, Arcturians. You have lower vibrational ones that like to take over planets like Dracos. You have free will on this planet. You decide what you wish to tap into.
Now, that's not the one I was talking about, so I'm going to go and see if I can get that one on here too. Okay, let's see. Let's see. Let me find it. For the
There's been TikToks of people telling stories about how they have met vampires IRL.
Let's get into it. Let's talk about real vampires. Get cozy because I have tea that I am going to spill. I am going to tell you the truth about real vampires. What are real vampires? The different types of real vampires, how they feed, everything I know about them, studies that have been done on them. And lastly, why I don't just knock the belief in real vampires. Quickly, if you don't know, my name is Megan. I'm a paranormal investigator from New Blood Universe, which is an indie paranormal production company. They're actually making a docu-series about real vampires. I researched the paranormal, folklore, cryptids, the fae, the occult, which has led me on my journey to my research on real vampires. So what are real vampires? They are not the same thing as vampires from legend and folklore. They don't turn into bats. They don't suck pomegranate juice from your neck. They don't have an aversion to garlic. And they're not immortal, at least not in the way that we believe in immortality. Real vampires are very similar to your modern day witch. And I will get into that further into this video. Real vampires are essentially everyday people who require subtle energy to survive. So they need more than food, water, sleep, a roof over their head. They need something extra, something like subtle energy. So how do they consume that energy? How do they feed? That's where the different types come in. One type that has been talked about a lot is the sanguinarians or sanguines. These are the real vampires that do in fact consume pomegranate juice. There is lots of different ways that they might feed. Some real vampires will actually use something like a scalpel and have someone who is their donor who consents to giving them their pomegranate juice, and they will use their mouth on that person's body to consume the pomegranate juice. It's hard to say all this on TikTok. That being said, there are real vampires who actually have donors that give them a good amount of pomegranate juice to last them a while. Those real vampires will typically freeze that pomegranate juice and then later put it in something like their tea. I'm going to stick with my Earl Grey. Then we have energy vampires, and these are real vampires that consume subtle energy. But there can be different ways in which they consume this energy. For instance, there are energy vampires who consume energy schmexually. They need to get down with someone in order to get that energy that they require. Then we have energy vampires who consume energy by doing something that is like a massage. It's similar to Reiki. Imagine that you as a person, you don't just have your blood, your bones, and your organs. You also have this energy within you. And they basically have tethers that they take, and they take your energy with those tethers. It's kind of hard to explain, but I can get more into that if anyone's interested. Many real vampires do have donors that they get this energy from, although some also do what's called ambient feeding. So the idea is that if there's a large group of people, there's basically leftover energy, or kind of energy that sits on top of a crowd. A real vampire will take that energy into themselves. Real vampires are typically self-identified as such and as needing something like subtle energy to survive. There have been studies done on them, and I will get into that in a minute. In the vampiric community, consent is essential and is discussed thoroughly, meaning if they are going to be taking pomegranate juice or energy from someone else, they are close with that person, or close enough that they're asking that person if they can take those things. It's mutually agreed upon. That being said, real vampires can be good, bad, or somewhere in between and neutral. They're people. Not all of them are going to care about consent. On the flip side, there could be real vampires who do not know they are real vampires and are acting instinctually to take others' energy. Another way that some real vampires feed is emotionally, and that is where things could get sticky in terms of being manipulative or things like that. Although I have met a couple of real vampires who did not care about consent, most of the real vampires that I have met and have spoke to in length really do value consent and are amazing people, some of which are my closest friends. Let's talk about some real studies that have been done on real vampires. There was a man named John Browning from Louisiana State University, and he studied real vampires for 5 years. He originally went into this study thinking that people who identified as real vampires were deranged people, and through his study actually wound up believing that they do have this need for pomegranate juice or subtle energy. He also thought that he was going to meet a lot of really enthusiastic True Blood fans or Dracula fans and stuff like that, but that just wasn't the case. Although there are many real vampires who also are lifestylers and go along with the lifestyle of having prosthetic fangs, wearing dark clothing, dressing goth or punk, there are many who do not dress, act, look like real vampires or vampires in the way that we think of them at all. They just look like your everyday people. John Browning did his study in New Orleans and predominantly of NOVA, the New Orleans Vampires Association. Most of the real vampires within that association during his study were normal in the eyes of society. They had friends, spouses, children, everyday jobs. Through John Browning's study, which I could do a whole other video about, he actually did believe that these people require the pomegranate juice or the real energy to survive. Now, of course, there are people who claim they are real vampires and that require pomegranate juice to survive, and that's just not true. There are people out there who are faking it, who are playing the part, dressing the part, wearing the prosthetic fangs, and saying that this is something that they are that they truly are not. However, a lot of the people who identify as real vampires are not screaming this from the rooftops. They really do keep to themselves and don't want to be judged by others. I have done a video on real vampires before, and a lot of people suggested this disease that they think a lot of real vampires have. I don't know how to pronounce that word. However, a lot of these real vampires do not have that disease. There was another study done by Dr. Williams of Idaho State University, and he found no evidence of psychiatric issues in self-identified vampires. Sorry, you guys, this is getting long. I am going to make a part 2, but if you want to see this whole video right now, it is already up on my YouTube channel. Anyways, that's it for this one. See you next time.
Okay, so we'll pause there. So she was talking about different types of vampires that may not be the, like you think of Count Dracula kind of vampires, but vampires nonetheless. So what do you think, Tanya, about the energy vampires?
Energy vampires are something that all of us have to deal with every doggone day. And that's one of the things that many of us, especially us empaths, because we are a buffet for energy vampires. Most empaths have a unyielding desire to help people, and energy vampires will always appear to be victims, always appear to be in need. And once they know that you cannot refuse them, they will latch onto you and they will bleed you dry. This is one of the energies that all of us have to be aware of, and we have to identify energy vampires as such and protect ourselves from them. And unfortunately, with energy vampires, y'all, we have to disassociate with them. That's the people we have to say no to. These are the people who, these may be your co-workers who are they're always behind on their tasks, and they always come to you for assistance or help because they can't get it done. And if they can't get it done, they might lose their position, and you're the only one that can help them. And you have just literally bared your throat for them to suck your energy out of. And this is the thing about energy vampires, y'all. They always hang around you. When you are good and full, they are on you like a fly. When you need help, when you need assistance, they disappear like the wind.
Yes, I know those, Tanya, and I feel I'm an empath too because I care so much. I care about injustice. I care about people. I want to help every single person I can. But the weird thing is that those people that are energy vampires that I didn't recognize as such, they're always coming to me. Can you help me? I have family members. They dump their problems on you, dump and dump and dump, and you listen to them and you give them advice, none of which they listen to, and they'll come back to you over and over and over again with the same thing. And it just gets draining. And it got to the point where my blood pressure would be up and I would be exhausted. I felt like a limp rag every time they were coming around. When the phone would ring, I just, get me nervous because I want to help. But at some point, and it's like you said, after listening to those people's problems a million times and helping them a million times, when I have a problem and say one word about it, thinking that they'll be there for me, they cut me off and completely go right back to their problems. You know what I mean? It's like you're telling them something and it's like, they let it be known they don't care. You are there for me. You are there to help me. I'm not there to listen to you. And it just blows my mind because you sit there and think, now I've listened to you and helped you so many times. Surely you could be there for me once. But I think that happens to a lot of us in this community. And that's when you were talking about, we need to protect ourselves and put a bubble of light around us. And I think that's why a lot of us empaths have a hard time. I don't know about you, Tanya. I have a hard time going in grocery stores or places where there's many people because I'm like feeling everything from everybody. And people that don't know me, that have never met me, will come up to me and tell me their whole life story. It's like almost like they can tell.
Yes, and they can, because empaths are like a flame. We are walking around. Picture an empath. All of you and most of you in the chat are probably empaths. Picture this is you. You are a candle that is walking through a dark room, and all the things that are in need, all the moths are attracted to your light. So that's how we as empaths, we really do move through the world that way. The reason people approach us with their problems is because they see our light. They don't sense it, they see it. So we literally walk around in a dark world and we are uncovered. We are wide open to all the dark things in the world, because as empaths, we literally carry the light. And that's how we help people, but that's also how we get targeted by energy vampires.
Yes, because I was at a hospital with my husband. He was getting a test. This lady I'd never met before, never said 2 words before. She told me her entire, whoa, what happened there? She
I
told
don't know.
me her entire life story. I mean, things about her past that I'm like, why is she? I listened because I always listen, but it's like, it just shocked me that she's never met me and was telling me all this stuff. But eventually, don't you get to where after so much of it happens over and over, it's like this light you say we have, it puts it out because
No, it doesn't.
eventually it just, what makes you feel like, it makes me feel like I have nothing more to give.
It
And
drains you.
still,
Yeah,
that's
it drains you. You can't turn off your light if you tried. You're an empath. You were put here to help people. You can't turn off your light. Your light can be dimmed down to a dull glow. And that's why most empaths stay by themselves. Most empaths don't associate with very many people because the energy is overwhelming. And most empaths' best friend is their own self, because that's the only place where there's no drama.
yes. I know a lot of people think because like we're on here and we're here and we love to do readings, we love to help people because that's who we are, that's what we love. But when we're not doing this, when we tend to want to be alone. I do. I love to be alone. People like my family don't understand it. They're like, they want to have parties, go out, do, and I was like, no, I need that time. I need that time to, I don't know, just to be by myself, not be helping anybody, not be just to have some time by myself.
And
I don't know why.
I'm going to ask you this. With, okay, you're an empath. With the time that you spend just by yourself, we still don't have enough time left in the day to even get things done then. It's like even just being alone is a time crunch lately. I'll say lately because it hasn't always been. I used to have beautiful solitude, quiet times. This last 3 months, I get up, I get up at 3:00 in the morning, but I go to the park every day to do my yoga and work on myself at the park in the living grass. And I get up at 5:00. I'm at the park by 5:30. And y'all, by the time I leave, a lot of the time it is almost 8:00, and I can't tell you where 3 hours have gone because it only feels like I've been there for maybe 45 minutes. And then I come home and it's 10:10 time for the show, or 11:11. We are in such a hyperdrive of time consciousness. And I have to say it that way, that when other people take the very little time that we have left, that it really depletes us. And most of us are here to help others, but the one person that we have to help before we help others is ourselves, y'all. If we aren't fixed, we can't fix nobody else. So we got to get ourselves right before we stretch ourselves out for everybody else.
Yeah, and Spirits Beyond the Stars says I usually put my protection on. Here's mine. That's what I was just putting on. I put that on whenever I start feeling like that. I put it on when I know I'm going to be around people like that, or have my spray, or have my stuff. It kind of helps. Then they were talking about sexual vampires. Those are people like that. Wasn't the guy who was on, what was he on? The X-Files. He said he had a sex addiction. Isn't it like where they just can't get enough, or it's like what exactly do you feel about that?
What do I feel about a sexual vampire? A sex vampire is exactly what it sounds like. For entertainment and educational purposes only. Elon Musk, Mr. I have 12 or 13 kids, none of which he is in their lives. He's not married to their mother. He's just making babies. That is a person who is feeding off of other people's energy. And then he's got an ulterior motive behind it to leave that person with child.
Right?
To leave them with child. So not only is he a vampire, he's not only a taker, but he's also a leaver, and not in a good way, because he doesn't care about the woman. He wants her sexual energy. He wants that to validate himself, to emasculate himself. It only makes him a sperm donor, but in his mind, it makes him king, because in his mind, he's building a nation, but he's taking away from all these women, leaving them without a lifelong partner, leaving them, doesn't matter how much money he gives them. These children are still being raised by a single parent. That is the epitome of a sexual vampire, because he doesn't care. He doesn't care about his victim, and he doesn't care about the children that he leaves behind.
Yeah,
and he doesn't leave children behind.
And entertainment purposes only, just to cover our butts. But I think Trump's an energy vampire too, because it's always suck from you, me, the victim, poor me, what about me? Give to me, and so, I mean, that's what it is. And sometimes you try to watch him when I try to do the political shows, and it's like he sucks the life out of me trying to watch those things. I can only watch so much, because being an empath and I watch that, it's like, I've got to limit it. Linda says, I had an energy vampire, and after I banished her from my life, she went vindictive. Put my name and address on her YouTube channel, blame me for all that went wrong in her life. Oh, that's terrible. Let me get rid of that. And then Mildred says, my aunt was an energy vampire. She was housebound, and whenever I talked to her, I was, you felt like you were drained. You just felt drained. And Sheila says, I'm an empath. I always relate to others and the problems they speak to me about, but they got mad, and I'm told I ignored them and talking about me. I believe I'm only relating. We understand. That's I think everybody in this room, if you're here, you probably are an empath. Most of you here are. So I'm going to play another one for you. Let's see what else we got here to show you. Hold on here. And I want to get my volume up.
Hello, TikTok. Take a freestyle here with another story time. About time I met a vampire. I tried to do this story the other day on live, and it just did not work out. But anyway, I just decided to record a video. People have been asking me about the story, so here it goes. I'm a rideshare driver in New Orleans. So, of course, I encounter all types of people from all walks of life. One particular ride was very interesting. Now, this was a couple of years ago when this occurred. And I'm going to tell you, for the most part, I remember what she said. I do not remember what she looked like. And there are some details that when the experience was over, I had completely forgotten some things. But anyway, so I'm riding, pick up this passenger, and I remember our conversation. And the craziest thing is I can remember her voice. I can, and even as I'm telling you this, I can hear her voice in my head. And I can even picture like this part of her face around her mouth, her lips. I can see them moving. as she's talking to me. And I remember her hand being on my shoulder, and I remember what it felt like when she touched me. But a lot of other stuff, it's like was just completely erased. So I pick her up, and I do know that we were having conversation. I talked to many of my passengers, and she is telling me I have really great energy. So I told her thank you. She asked me some things about myself, nothing too private, nothing with too many details. So, I just kind of gave her some general info. And I remember her telling me that she wasn't from here. That I do remember. And then she proceeds to tell me how much she loved New Orleans, how much she loved being there, living there, et cetera, et cetera. I do recall asking her where she was from originally, and all she told me was that she was from very far away. And it's funny again because I'm hearing her voice in my head as this is weird. Um and I've never shared this story with anybody, so TikTok, you're getting it first. um she touched my shoulder at one point, and this is where things got really strange. She touched my shoulder, and I felt like I just froze. And even as I'm talking to you right now, I can distinctly remember that feeling of feeling frozen. And my hands were on the wheel because I could see my hands on the wheel. The car wasn't moving. And being frozen in that moment, I hear her voice, but not like I'm here talking to you. In my head, I hear her voice telling me, don't be scared,
Relax.
that she's not going to harm me.
Mm.
And then after that, we're moving again. And I remember kind of turning and looking like that. And she was sitting back in the seat and her hands were on her lap. And I said, what did you do to me? And she just smiled. And she says, I just leached some of your energy. And I said, what? She said, I just leached some of your energy. She said, this is going to sound crazy, but I can assure you it's true. I'm a vampire. She said, but I'm not the type of vampire that you've been taught about in books and movies. She said, those types of vampires exist, but they're very rare these days. I'm a vampire that feeds off of energy. And all I have to do is touch you to get it. She said, New Orleans is a great place for her and her kind to exist. And that there are quite a few members of their tribe, is what she called them. I think I remember this part of our conversation so significantly because I I believe when she touched me, she implanted something in my mind, whether you want to call it a memory or a thought or an idea. But she gave me something of herself, probably, to where I can recall this portion of the interaction between us. Maybe she knew that eventually I would share the story with others and therefore maybe make it a little bit more acceptable for them to start, for her and her members to start presenting themselves. I don't know. I don't know why she even chose me for this. But she told me that there are vampires that survive off of good energy. There are vampires that survive off of bad energy. There are vampires that survive off of sexual energy. And there are vampires that survive off of blood. And New Orleans is the only place in the world where you can find members of all four of those vampire tribes. Maybe she wanted me to remember this portion of it as a warning. I don't know. But I know she wasn't lying just because of how I felt. And even now, it's crazy because I still feel like her hand is on my shoulder, which makes me wonder, when she touched me, did she create some type of psychic connection between the two of us?
Yes.
I don't know. I need to end this. Anyway, I don't remember where I dropped her off at. I don't even remember dropping her off. The next thing I remember doing clearly was being in a part of town that I didn't remember how I even got there. And it was like 2 hours later. And I was just in a parking lot. Just in a parking lot. And I know it sounds weird, y'all. I think I probably shouldn't even recorded this. I probably shouldn't even be talking. I probably should not even be talking about this. I shouldn't.
Okay.
Oh God, that poor woman.
I know.
Oh my
And
God, she is marked. That vampire marked her. She is marked. When she said she left a psychic link, that woman doesn't have to touch her anymore to drain her. She literally put a port in her, and she chose her. And I hate to say this, but the reason that she was chosen was because of her size and her kind nature. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, that poor
she was
woman.
happy.
She
She
was
was
being led.
jovial.
You can feel it. She's terrified.
And she's been getting a lot of slack on YouTube. People saying, "Oh, they don't believe her. They think she's lying." But I don't feel she is. I feel, there's no reason to put herself out there, and she didn't seem like this was something she was eager to be talking about. You know what I mean? Because she felt like, I need to stop. I need to stop. I shouldn't have done this. I shouldn't have said this. Like, almost like there was a fear inside of her for
Yeah.
having spoken about it.
Yeah. Yeah. And she is afraid. And because she knows that she has been touched, and that icy cold touch was death.
And she said at first it felt like honey, like she was fearful, and then it put its hand on her. She put her hand, and then suddenly she felt like this, like calming honey.
Yeah, don't
Yeah,
worry. I'm not gonna hurt you. Don't worry. Don't
kind
worry.
of like,
It's okay. And that it was like a mosquito that is picking its host and then digging its fangs into her, and it was just sitting there, just gulping. while she was conscious of it, and she's still conscious of it. Oh my God, this poor woman. That poor
Well,
woman.
you watch these Dracula movies when they look at the woman, and the woman, they look into their eyes, and then they start, the woman starts coming to them, and the woman starts coming to them, and it's almost like they hypnotize the woman in the movies. You've seen them in the Dracula movies where they hypnotize them, and this woman normally who would be fearful and run away is like in a daze, walking towards the danger, walking towards Dracula. That's almost what it reminded me of in some ways, because she was scared, and then it's like, no, be calm, while I suck your energy out of you. And I've heard quite a few stories about that, these energy vampires. And there's the different ones I heard about was the energy vampires. And then there are the posers, the ones who actually get their teeth sharpened, and they have clubs, and they dress in goth, and they just are wannabe vampires, and they drink each other's blood. And then there are the actual ones who feel they need the blood, but they have people who donate. They had one guy, he said that his uncle or somebody he was a kid, was going to hurt him, was violent. And he was a little chubby kid, and he was always picking on him, and he went and he bit into his arm through his thing, and blood came out. When he tasted that blood, he knew that it was something that it made him feel good. And then it got to be where he needed that blood. So he started, he said his hair wasn't as shiny, his eyes weren't as bright. He needed the blood. So he has people in New Orleans that volunteer. He goes to their house, he lets them take a razor blade or little pins and squeezes it out of them, and he sucks the blood out of them. So there are people who don't mind being fed on. And so these vampires that actually need the blood feel like physically they have to have it. There's actually a disease that lady was trying to tell about. There's volunteers that don't mind being fed off. And he said he can tell by the blood if somebody's low on their this or low on that, on iron, on this and that, because he's gotten so used to the taste of the blood. And so there's different kinds that there are out there. There's hybrid vampires. They are somebody who also does the energy and the blood. And so and New Orleans, like she said, has all four. There is a vampire bar in New Orleans. What, it's Spirits Beyond the Star?
Nah, Mildred says, what do you think meat eaters are?
You know what, Mildred? It grosses me out, meat. My husband likes meat. He's a big meat eater, but I remember my mom one time, she used to cook chicken livers, and I would eat them because they were fried and they were good. And then when I grew up and I had my own apartment, I thought, I want some chicken livers. I went to the store, I got them, I poured them in the sink, and it was like kaplum, and all this blood. And I called my mother. I'm like, Mom, this is gross. She goes, well, that's what you've been eating all these years, Deann. I'm like, gross. And my first turkey I had to cook, Tanya, I gave my daughter $1 and some tongs. I said, I'll pay you $1 if you take, because they had the gut and the neck and everything and the butt of I'm like, I'll pay you $1 if you get that out for me, because I did not want to put my hand in there. I could easily become a vegetarian if not for my husband. I got to cook meat for him. But I usually, like Thanksgiving, I eat around all the meat. Let's see. So let me see. I'll get you another one. But did you feel like she was telling the truth?
Yes, definitely. I feel for that poor woman. I feel for her.
What'd you guys think in the chat? Do you guys feel like she was telling the truth? I feel like she was. But she's, anytime you tell, that's the scary part. She probably got out there and everybody's telling her, oh, she's full of it, she's lying. And so now she's probably wondering, why did I even do that? And some people are thinking, well, why would a vampire even take a Lyft or an Uber? Why would they do that? They don't fly. They're not like in the movies that they fly. They
got to feed, so they got to go to where the food is. Mm-hmm. You think about it. See, that's why I don't like mass transport. You think about being on an airplane, being on a bus, being on a train. You are one of 100 people, and there could be 3 or 4 energy vampires that are just sitting there getting their fill from the people and the emotions on that bus or that public transport. Yeah, that's why people have odd feelings. Empaths can feel when there's a disturbance in the energy. And that's what we're feeling, is the disturbance in the energy. And when there is a vampire present, empaths can feel it, because usually we're the ones that they're targeting, but we can feel that there's something wrong, even if that something wrong may be somebody pretending to be victimized, so that we'll give them our pity and in turn give them our energy.
Yep. And Aiden says, he says, I believe her too. You know, and did you hear what that one lady said, that sometimes they'll suck the energy off of a crowd? I watched a video, and it was a video of a concert, like, you know, Taylor Swift, one of those big rock concerts where there was tons of people, and you could see this dark entity going back and forth over the crowd. I think it was something that was feeding off of the energy, because think of all the energy at a crowd that, you know, I mean, you know, any kind of thing. You know, you go, people that go to church, and when there's even praise and worship and everybody's singing and there's an energy to it. You have a concert and you have everybody screaming and yelling and cheer. There's an energy to it. But it was this dark, you could see it bouncing back and forth over people's heads. So that would be a perfect place to get a lot of energy, going to some place that is like a big, massive crowd like that. What was it said? Oh, and
Oh, I'm sorry. M. Dizzy Lizzie said, hi, ladies. This is a great topic. I'm learning so much. That poor girl. Tanya, can we do a prayer together for her? Would y'all like to? We can pray for her. We can pray for her. Definitely, we can send her protective energy. I wish we had a name for her, though. So, but okay, y'all, for everybody who is so willing, let's go ahead. Everybody, the first thing that I want you to do is to take all your problems, take the day and set it aside. Everything that has transpired today, set it to the side. Everyone who is willing, take a deep breath in through the nose. Hold it at the top. 3, 2, 1. Exhale. I want you to feel yourself letting go. Take another big, deep breath in through the nose. I want everyone to focus on this one woman, on this vampire victim. Exhale. With all the energy that we all have, universe, creator, spirit guides, we send our protective, loving, healing energy to the woman who was touched by this vampire dark spirit. Protect her. Send her healing. Send her light. Send her the directions to somebody who can free her from this negative energy that has attached itself to her. So be it. So mote it be. We ask as the collective, with all the energy that we can muster, we send. So be it. So mote it be. 100 times true. Woo.
thank you, Tanya, for doing that. I'm a good prayer in my head, in my car, but in front of people, I'm not as good at that. But I do pray for people. So thank you. Oh, what was that? Sheila was saying, my son had a girl at my house he was going with. She wouldn't leave. I exorcised her out of my house. My son and her both left. He came back when he was like bone dry. Yep, moms know best, you know, most of the time. Okay, let's see what our next one is here. Okay.
Woo.
Oh, this will be interesting.
may have done sweet.
Let me turn this back here. Okay, I want to get my volume up real quick. Okay. Oh, it's making me, I tried to get, let me stop it and go back to it. Hold on. For some reason, it decided since I paused it. Okay.
The United States captured a vampire and kept it a secret.
The United States captured a vampire and tried to keep it a secret. On October 1st, an explorer found something the world will never forget. John Holliday was an urban explorer from Dallas, Texas. He had heard about an abandoned prison closed down in 1975 and wanted to explore the compound. What he would uncover that day, you won't believe. John walked almost an hour through the woods until he reached a large, rusty barbed wire fence. He carefully made his way through a hole in the fence and walked towards the entrance of the prison. He spent several hours exploring the compound until he eventually stumbled upon a doorway that read, "Solitary Confinement." He opened the door not knowing the insane discovery he was about to make. As he entered, he noticed a trail of blood on the floor leading to a cell at the end of the hallway. He approached the cell and noticed a large sign that read, "Vampire inside, do not open." The door to the cell was made of solid metal and had a small slot that could be opened for a food tray. Curious, he knocked on the door but got no response. He decided to open the small slot, and suddenly a hand lunged out and tried to grab him. The last thing he saw was a set of fangs and eyes staring at him as he quickly ran out of the building.
By the way, this video is scripted.
Okay, so that one I'm not too sure about. However, I do believe, I don't know about you, Tanya, I do believe just like they have hid aliens from us, you know, and told us that we were crazy, there's no such thing as aliens. Everybody who's seen a UFO is out of their mind. And then they go into Congress and say, oh, guess what? There is proof of aliens. And we find out all these secret documents and people who used to work for them are coming out with stories. We're seeing them now because we all have our cell phones. They can't hide it from us anymore. It does make me wonder. There are people in Romania and in different areas like that. There's certain areas that they say that some of these creatures, these dark creatures, do exist. Not the human vampires, not the ones that, you know, energy, just the energy, but they're actual. It makes me wonder, could there be actual vampires, you know, real vampires that our government could know about in different areas of the world? Because it's not just Vlad the Impaler, but it's all over the globe. There are stories of vampires. So what do you think, Tanya?
There's just so much. I don't know. To be honest, I was typing in the chat, so I lost your conversation.
I was saying how we talk about they used to make people feel crazy because they said there's aliens. Anybody who saw a UFO, you're crazy. Anybody who said they were abducted, they're crazy. And then all of a sudden we find out our government has known about this. So do you believe it's possible that our government could know about real vampires? Not the human, you know, sucking the air, but that's still a thing. That's still a type of vampire, but real dark entity vampires that they have not told us about, you know, because there are demonic creatures that could suck blood. There are vampire bats that are not blind that suck blood. So what don't we?
The whole thing about the governments of our world is that these governments were put in place for one thing, and that is to keep us in the dark about everything that we're talking about. And this all starts and ends with that ice wall. Everything that we have been told is fantasy or fake, including the planets. Everything exists beyond the ice wall. Our whole universe is in this planet. That's what we don't understand. Our entire universe, everything that we can see, everything that we can't see, where we send that doggone satellite to explore, is a part of our world, our little place in this vastness of everything. Everything that we see is here on this planet, including Mars and Jupiter and Saturn and everything. And the cryptids and the things that they say are fantasy, unicorns. We know unicorns were real. There are pictures, drawings of unicorns, of antlered horses. There are more than one kind of equestrian being. Zebras. We call them zebras because Americans can't speak. But zebras, there are different species of zebras. We don't even know because they have kept us so ignorant. And they do that on purpose. Anytime somebody has a quantum leap of information, the first thing the government does is to shut down the flow of information. There was another guy who just made a car that runs off of water. That man showed himself filling the car up with a water hose and driving it away. How much you want to bet in 3 weeks that guy will be disappeared?
Yeah, because that's what happens to them. And Blue says my family on dad's side was from Serbia, and they definitely believe in werewolves, among other things. And what I'm thinking, okay, there is the dogmen. People have seen the dogmen. People have seen shapeshifters. People have seen skinwalkers. People have seen, you talk about the reptilians. So why would there not? We might call them vampires, but a creature that sucks the blood of humans to live.
The chupacabra. The chupacabra is a vampire that feeds off of animals. That is the chupacabra. It is a vampire that feeds primarily off of livestock.
Yeah. And vampire bats, they actually, regular bats, they say are blind, but the vampire bats, they can see. And they have this great hearing. Yeah, they can see. And really? They have great hearing. And they actually feed off the blood of livestock. And there's a whole, if you look up, there's this whole thing that reminds you of Dracula about them. So they are a creature, a small creature that does it to animals. So why couldn't there be a bigger creature like that would feed off the blood of humans, that may live in the woods, that may live in certain areas of the world, maybe not here in America? They say that California, New Orleans, and I forget, there was another place, if they're in the United States, would be found. But, you know, in Romania and places like that, they do believe in that stuff, you know? So let's see, I'm going to see I got a lot of these, so I'm going to show you as many as I can. Let's see.
Are whispers of a dark truth. Dracula may have been real. It is said that in the 15th century, a cruel prince named Vlad Tepes ruled over Wallachia with an iron fist. His brutal methods earned him the moniker Vlad the Impaler, a name that struck fear into the hearts of his enemies. But what if Vlad's thirst for blood went beyond mere cruelty? What if he possessed an unholy power, a curse that transformed him into an immortal creature of the night? The conspiracy theorists claim that Vlad's reign of terror was fueled by an ancient ritual in which he sacrificed his own mortality to become a vampire. This dark pact granted him immortality, allowing him to live forever as a nightmarish predator, stalking the lands of Eastern Europe for centuries. Legends speak of Vlad's castle, perched atop the Carpathian Mountains, where he allegedly conducted unspeakable rituals and feasted on the blood of his victims. It is said that within the castle's depths, hidden chambers and secret passageways conceal the unholy secrets of Vlad's transformation, guarded by an order of loyal loyal followers sworn to protect the vampire's legacy. Skeptics dismiss these tales as mere folklore, but those who believe in the conspiracy point to unexplained disappearances and mysterious deaths throughout history, all seemingly linked to the legend of Dracula. They whisper of sightings of a pale, aristocratic figure stalking the night, leaving a trail of drained corpses in his wake. So, is Dracula truly a mythical figure? Or does the truth lie buried deep within the annals of history, waiting to be unearthed? The conspiracy theory continues to fascinate and horrify, leaving us to wonder, what if the Prince of Darkness walks among us, eternal and undying?
Okay, so Vlad the Impaler was a real person who tried to fight the Turks by because there was more of them than them. So he scared them by the ones that he got. He impaled them. But they're saying that he actually got a bloodthirst and that there are all these places. So who knows, you know? And another thing I read, Tanya, was they talked about, you know how you talked about the Queen and different people that are in high position being
Prince
draconian.
Prince Philip, direct bloodline from Vlad the Impaler.
Really?
Direct bloodline.
Well, when you said draconians, I think Dracula, you know, feeding off fear, feeding off. Then you hear about, I would not doubt if they feed. I've heard stories of feeding off the blood.
That's how you put one and one together. That was very good, Deann. That was very good. And you are absolutely right.
Yeah.
You put that together perfectly. Dracula, draconian. Yes, you did.
Mm-hmm. So those, they are energy vampires, and I believe they are hybrids. They are blood vampires. I feel they feed off of both. And there's so many missing people that they don't find every day. And you hear stories about, what's the name of that place with the big owl that they have those ceremonies?
Oh, something Grove, Bohemian Grove.
What are they doing there? Are they doing blood rituals there? You know, where they're feeding off blood. So I believe we do have vampires. They just don't look like, they don't have the cape necessarily. They don't, the ones who are then the goth who want to be vampires, they get their teeth sharpened, they get the retractable teeth, they dress up in goth, they go to the goth vampire parties. But the ones who are real vampires, I don't think you can tell that they are. I think they remain hidden. They remain in, like you said, positions of power. They said most of the people that were Draculas are like Count Dracula are from high positions, popes, people in high political power. So I think we do have some. Let's see what else we got here. I don't know. Now I don't want to do that one. I want to do this one. Oh, here's a good one. Oh, doggone it. Hold on. Okay, I gotta go out and go back in for this one. Sometimes they give me trouble. I wasn't sure what I wanted to. Okay. All right. Is this it? I will do this one. I gotta get my volume up here. Okay. So sorry, guys, I had to get the volume up and then I have to do it. So I stop screen, present, share. I'll just start from the bottom because I'm skipping around, so make it easier for us.
Also known as Vlad the Impaler. Vlad ruled a region in Transylvania in the 15th century. He was known for his brutal tactics in battle, including impaling his enemies on spikes. It's said that he even enjoyed dining among his impaled victims. But Dracula's castle, which is still standing today, was not a place of horror. It was a fortress used to defend against Ottoman invaders. Dracula was known for his strict justice and protection of his people. So where did the vampire legend come from? It was actually popularized by Bram Stoker's novel Dracula, which was loosely based on Vlad's life. But in reality, Dracula was a complex figure, feared by his enemies, but respected by his people.
Okay, so that tells a little bit about Vlad. His people
Vlad the
loved him.
Impaler was a psychopath.
I think so too. But his people, he thought, saved them. Let's see, do this one. Oh, here's one for you, Tanya. Come on, please play. I want you to see this one. This is the
Don't
one
mess
I
with
was.
it, Nana. Don't mess with it, Nana. Don't mess with it, Nana.
Okay. Oh, we'll just do one at a time. I'll do this one, then I'll go back to the other one.
No, 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 no. I want you to play it. I want you to play it.
Okay, here. Okay. Let's see. Do. Okay.
I didn't mean for you to take that literally.
Let's see here. Where is it? Where'd it go? Is that it? Okay.
Yes.
It may take a second. It's loading up. If I don't see it, I'll find it and get it back on here. It was playing earlier.
There it is. It's coming. Just
Is
give it a second. Just give it a second.
If it doesn't come on, then I'll go to the next one and go back and pull this back up.
No, I just said that because I just said that about Inanna because it just upsets me so much how they have vilified Lilith and made her the demon in this takeover of the female form. They use Lilith. She was literally the sacrificial lamb. So that's why I get so crazy about it, because she's the first woman that they vilified.
Well, yeah. Oh, yeah, she is. Let's see if this one will play. Oh, why is everything being so weird now? See, stuff is like it's not.
Well, you know what? We've been on here an hour. We can do a part 2. We can definitely come back and do a part 2. This is a good topic.
Oh yeah, and I've got this one I really want you to see. Okay, hold on. This is it. Is this it? Here we go. Try this one. Yeah, see how it's doing? Let me pull it.
Crazy.
Let me pull up the maybe if I pull it up on my thing again. Okay, I'm gonna get this here. Let's see if I can pull it up again from the beginning. Real quick. I'm gonna go to my Deann Shield Maiden. And let's see if I pull this up again, if it'll let me. Come on, come on, come on. Okay. All right, let's see. Okay, this is, we want vampires number. Let's try this one.
Might be the universe just telling us to to save it for a later date.
Oh, it came. Hold on, let me just see it real quick. I think I got it though.
Okay.
Let's see. Green. There you go. See, it's showing here. This one is. So if I go to here, see, that's the one I want. So if I go to present and then stop screen and I go to present, you guys hang on there with me. I'm trying. Let's see.
Egyptian bloodline. Where did vampires come from? And who was the first vampire? And I love it how at a certain point, the big vampire Dracula became a man, and they wanted to give the credit of this almighty being to a masculine entity. But it was never a man to be the first vampire. It was always a woman, the first woman, Lilith. And before the mythology of Lilith, it was Inanna Ishtar, one of the 3 Anunnaki royals, the first ones that came here on Earth, when Earth was divided by these 3 children of Anu. Daughter of Asherah, the first vampire was Lilith. So why is there this mythology, this myth that vampires are connected to royal bloodlines or the Egyptian bloodline? It's simple. It all goes back to the Anunnaki Sumerian ancient gods. But wait, Lilith comes from Jewish mysticism. Yes, but where did Jewish mysticism get the story of Lilith? It was at that point that the bloodlines of the Anunnaki royals were all dividing Earth by territories. Inanna, Ishtar, had her own fraction of territories. So once the Anunnaki royals divided their territories, they created kingship. And they did this with their offspring. They had relations with humans. The men and women both procreated with humans. And these children were considered the demigods. At a certain point, once the Anunnaki had to leave, they left their offspring to rule. There were too many humans to control. So the originals decided to leave the lesser tasks directly to their descendants. In fact, Gilgamesh, the epics of Gilgamesh was a third or fourth generation Anunnaki. And I have this in the playlist where it talks about first and second gen, third generation Anunnaki. So let's get back to the vampires. Why are the vampires connected to royal bloodlines and Egyptian bloodlines? Well, this is why. The moment that kingship was established, they established that certain bloodlines were directly connected to God. Not like the common belief that the royals can speak to God, but that they were always to maintain their bloodline to rule, because that's how the Anunnaki left for the kingship to be established. The bloodline of the vampire starts with Inanna, where she had gone to the underworld to retrieve her lover Damuzi. That's when her sister thought that Inanna was coming to invade and take her territory. So when Inanna arrived in the underworld, she didn't even give her time to speak, that she had her offed. Hecate sent servants to call Lord Enki. Once he rushed to the underworld, he performed the enchantment spell ritual to create a living entity from a body that had already passed away. And what he did was give her a vial of living blood of a human that was living, performed his ritual, and used the stone lapis lazuli. Enki loved lapis lazuli. Nibiru does not have it. He found it on Earth, and in all of his temples and ancient scriptures, he talks about it, he brags about having it, and just describes all the magical and beautiful properties this gemstone has. And that is why, if you see in TV shows, daylight rings are made with the lapis lazuli stones. This goes back to real ancient history. So the first vampire was Inanna, that later on became known as Lilith. Vampires were never born vampires. They were always created. So at a certain point, Inanna had established her whole army of vampires. Then there is the mythology of Dracula. And they say that the book of Bram Stoker, Dracula, was actually inspired by Vlad the Impaler, which King Charles is a direct descendant of him, and has bragged about several times. So as you see, the royal bloodline always goes back to the first kingship, and that is why they say that vampires are in the royal families. That doesn't mean that they're all vampires, but that's where the story comes from. How are the vampires connected to the Egyptian pharaohs and everything? For the same reason, because the pharaohs were the kingship line descendants of the Anunnaki left on Earth to rule. So not everyone is a vampire, but that is why the vampire bloodline is connected to ancient Egyptian royalty and the royals all around the world, because it's all based on the myth, the story, the ancient history of the Anunnaki leaving kingship here on Earth, and Inanna, Lilith, being the first vampire, and then all of her descendants consequently having this gene of the vampire. But you cannot be born a vampire. You need to be made a vampire. At least this is what the mythology says.
Okay. There you go, Tanya. We couldn't go without you seeing that one. What do you think about that?
Wow. Well, it actually, because at first I was a little bit upset until I listened to her, And though I don't agree with everything she said, certain things kind of make sense. Sangue, the first thing. They talk about what's the one thing that the Christians talk about with Christ. You must be washed in the blood of the Lamb. So everything with Christ is about the blood. Everything, even the church songs, the blood that Jesus shed for me. Everything is
Blood,
about the blood. So I think we have got to do a deeper dive on this. Yeah, we don't have enough time. We don't have enough time. This rabbit hole goes too deep.
I know, and we've still got room for another one because I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. So I think this would, what do you guys think? You want to finish up this and have another one and then add werewolves to it? We could finish up on vampires and I could add some of werewolves, and what we don't get finished, we'll finish up the vampires, and then we'll go into the werewolves, and what we don't finish on werewolves, we'll just carry on to part 2.
We'll carry it on. Yeah.
So
vampires and werewolves and cryptids. Oh my.
I got that one just for you though. I seen that and I'm like, I know that you're interested in all that stuff. So I thought I want to see what Tanya thinks about this. She said, you're not born a vampire, you're made a vampire.
You're made one. Almost like how you become a witch. You have to kind of be indoctrinated. You have to be inducted into being one. That is interesting. That is so interesting.
These people are fascinated with blood, huh?
Yes, they are.
Vampires, yes. And that shocked me about King Charles is a direct descendant of Vlad the Impaler.
Yep, his daddy, that was his uncle.
So all these people are kind of, from the pharaohs on down, it's a bloodline. So it's interesting. And then the Draconians, like I said, that's Dracula too. So this was interesting. This was a fun show. So you guys, Sherry goes, yes, werewolves. We'll do vampires part 2 and then werewolves. And I want you guys to put in a hashtag manifest. Sherry, you got to hold off. You won last time. So I want to make sure everybody else gets a chance because you are lucky, girl. You won twice. So everybody put hashtag manifest. And while you're doing that, I'm going to give you a minute. I'm going to show you the site. So you'll know where to go to real quick. Okay. So if you're in the United States, I'm going to give you a drawing for a free bottle of oil. This is the site you'll go to. It's manifestshop.net, and it'll say Manifest Shop USA. The winner will get not a custom oil because this one takes me a long time to make, but any of our stock oils, any of these, you can click on, find out more about them. You can go up here and you can get a gift card, book a reading. You can hit shop all. If you want to see your choices of what you can pick, go on here and click on whatever, and it'll tell you all about that oil and what it's for. See, I've got a lot of them here. And right now, the High John the Conqueror oil is $5 off, and the Heartmand oil for anxiety, depression, grief. That one is free shipping right now. So you're going to go to this. Oh, and Jezebel, I don't know if I have any of that left. I got a little bit of it left. And also, I got to show you one more thing too, because I got these bracelets. I'm doing this thing with Otter Spirit. I've got my jade. This is for I put my money oils on this. This is my pyrite. I got a couple of lapis lazulis. I got a amethyst, and I got one called Lemala. I can't think of the name of this one. It's for peace. I can't, lepidolite, I think. And this one is black tourmaline. And they come in little box like this that says Otter Spirit. You can go down in the description box. You can get 20 to 30% off with the code down there. And they come in a little magnetized box that has a cute little bag, and it has a little card that tells you what it is. You can order by your, well, I'll show you real quick. You can, and I put my oils on these because it just, where's my little otter? And so much of the money goes to save the otters, which I love. So that's why I did it. But they have necklaces, they have bracelets, they have earrings, and they're really nice. And they're all AA, AAA, the best quality ones. That you can go to the about page. You can shop by intention, by zodiac sign. If you're wanting a certain gemstone, you want to hear about a little bit about the company, earrings, necklaces, bracelets, August collection, but they've got a Labor Day sale up to 30%. So anyway, I like them. I decided I went with this company to sponsor because it goes good with my oils. I rub my protection oils on this side. Whatever bracelets I have, I use to anoint with my oils. So it's just something there if you want. It's a Labor Day sale they got going on. So let me go ahead. We're going to do the thing, the drawing. I'm going to give you 10 seconds to get hashtag manifest in there. So let me go to, whoops, where do I want to go? Oh, this giveaway. Okay. 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. And draw. Okay, Risa. Risa. So you go to that site, and if you forget the thing, just go down in the description box. It's just manifestshop.net. And it'll say Manifest Shop USA. Click on that, and you pick out what you want and text me. My phone number is down below in the description box, or email me. My email's down there too. And everybody, please go to Tanya's channel and subscribe to her if you're not a subscriber. She's awesome. Tell them when your shows are on.
My shows are Monday, Wednesday, and Friday. Monday and Wednesday at 10:10. And Friday is a live interactive show at 11:11. Y'all come if you have questions, if you want to pray for others, or if you need prayer for yourself, come on over. Come on over.
And Tanya makes these great clearing sprays. This one is called Let It Go. She made for me. And she makes those little sachets. I put that inside my pillowcase. Sometimes I put it in my bra, just wherever I want. It smells really nice. And she makes them, you make them for everything, don't you? It's just anything they want.
Personal for whatever you're going through that you need assistance with. I will handcraft just for you whatever it is you need to help you along your journey.
Yes, and they're great, and I love them. And we trade off. She uses my oils, I use her stuff, and mine. I have certain ones that are. Yep, we trade off. It's like I need a new sachet. She's like, I need a new oil, so we just trade because we both like each other's stuff. And if you cannot find anything on mine that you think is appropriate, it's like I got a court case coming up, or I'm having trouble with my boss at work. Tell me, we can do a custom oil. It's $6 more, but my gosh, I take like sometimes 30, 45 minutes. I spend a lot of time, and you get 6, 7 different oils in there. I email you back what crystals I used, what oils I used, why I used them, and all that. And the guides tell me exactly how many drops of each thing to put in specifically for you and what to put in specifically for you. But I do have several oils that are made up if you find one that is for something that you're looking for. I like the fast cash one. Whenever I have to where it's like, oh, my car broke down, I don't have the money, I'll put that on, and it comes in. It works for me. It's worked for everybody. I mean, everybody's had good luck. I've had nothing but positive reviews on these. So if you want to try them, go ahead, go to Tanya's channel, check her out. Oh, I got to tell you know what I did today? I'm such a dork. I went to your channel because you said, oh, I got a show. I was texting you. And I went over there and I'm watching you and you're on and I'm like, and I'm texting you. I'm saying, oh, everybody like and subscribe. Oh, everybody, here's her stuff. Here's her read. I'm helping. I'm sitting here helping. And I'm saying, oh, yeah, I just got done pulling the videos down for our show. And I'm thinking, Tanya and saying hi to everybody, but she didn't say hi to me. I wonder. And I'm like, oh my God, the show's over. And I'm sitting here, started from the beginning. It was at the end. It was like, I'm like, nobody's talking. Why is everybody so quiet? I'm sitting the only one in the chat talking. I'm like, I am such a dork. I have a blonde moment daily.
Here you go.
I need to make an oil for blonde moment. Oh, well, I haven't made one for that. Maybe that's my next one. So, hey, everybody, thank you for coming. And we will see you next Friday. We'll finish up the vampire. I've got more videos, and then we'll go into werewolves, and then we may go back into the ice wall again. Oh, you got something else you want to say?
One thing, y'all, the new moon is Sunday night and Monday night. And for you, Deann, make sure you get your crystals outside to get everything charged up. Make your moon water, everybody. So the new moon is coming up. This is Labor Day weekend. Y'all be mindful out there. Be careful with your fires. Be careful with your energy. Now that you all know that these energy vampires are all over the place, put yourself in a bubble of protection.
I was going like this. I'm like, and my wand. I got to put that out there too.
Yeah.
So you all have a good one, and we'll see you on Friday. And for my members, I'll be making a video for you on Sunday. So I will talk to you later. Okay. Thanks a lot, guys. Bye-bye.